Yes, I see some students. Okay, so the students I know from before, did you ever do Halloween with me? Did we ever talk about Halloween? Halloween? I don't think so. Okay, so this is a new topic. Okay, so Halloween, October 31st, very big holiday. So what we were talking about is the history. Okay, so Halloween started 2,000 years ago in Ireland, England, and Scotland. Okay, there was a group called the Celts, and they celebrated this holiday, but they did not call it Halloween. They called it Samhain. Samhain. Okay? They believed that on October 31st, the living, like you guys, and the dead came together. Okay, so the door to the dead came open, and the dead would walk with the living. And they said that the dead would do bad things, that they would make problems for the living on this day. So what did they do? So the festival would frequently involve bonfires. It is believed that the fires attracted insects to the area, which attracted bats to the area. These are additional attributes of the history of Halloween. So why did they make big fires? They made big fires because insects, bugs, would come to the fire, and then bats. Does everybody know what bats are? Bats, B-A-T-S. Do you know what bats are? Like Batman? Yeah, bats, Batman, okay. They believe bats would fly and catch the insects. Okay, so why they did this on Halloween, I don't really know. But they also believed that the light would protect them from the darkness, from the bad things. So they had the bonfire. Masks and costumes were worn in an attempt to mimic the evil spirits or appease them. So masks, they wore masks or costumes to mimic the evil spirits. So maybe to make fun of the evil, make fun of the bad things so they wouldn't feel scared or they wouldn't have to feel afraid. So they wanted to make fun of the bad things. So they would wear funny costumes or scary costumes. But back then, they didn't have our clothes. So what did they use? Animal skins. So animals, after they kill the animal, they use the fur and the skin to make costumes. Trick or treating is an activity for children on or around Halloween, in which they proceed from house to house in costumes, asking for treats such as confectionery with the question, trick or treat. Okay, so like I said before, now in the US we celebrate Halloween by dressing up in costumes and going with our friends or family to other houses and knocking on their doors. And we say trick or treat, and the person in the house, they give you candy, or sometimes nothing, or sometimes yell at you and say, why are you at my house? Okay, some people are just scared. So it is our job on Halloween to scare each other. We love to scare each other on Halloween. So what do? We tell scary stories. Okay? Who likes scary stories? Nobody? Nobody likes feeling afraid? No? Okay, well, scary stories are a big part of Halloween. And you just can't have Halloween without something scary. So what we usually do is if we don't tell scary stories, we do something scary. Okay? So I'd like to read something to you about some kids. they wanted to scare each other on Halloween. So they did something very stupid. Okay, so I'll read you the story. Some boys and girls were at a party one night. There was a graveyard down the street, and they were talking about how scary it was. So let me draw this for you. Oh no. He gave me the wrong marker. Well, that's not good. Is this a whiteboard marker?
Give
it to me. Oh no. Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay. Okay, whatever. Not my fault. Okay, well anyway, there were some kids and they were at a party and they wanted to scare each other. Now, so they were at a party, but near the party, at the party, there was a graveyard. Graveyard. Okay, a graveyard is where dead people rest. Okay, where you have tombstones, R.I.P., rest in peace. Okay, that's a graveyard where we put the people who have died. So near the party was a graveyard. One of the boys said, "Don't ever stand on a grave after dark." So he said, don't ever stand on a grave after dark. So grave, where the dead person is, don't stand on that. Do you guys think it's okay to stand on a grave in Taiwan? No, it's kind of bad, right? So the boy said, don't ever stand on a grave after dark. The person inside will grab you and pull you under. Okay, so he said he wants to make the girls really scared. He wanted to make the girls scared. So he said if they stand on a grave when it's dark outside, that the person inside will grab you and pull you under. Typical boy. Boys like to scare girls, right? So one of the girls said, that's not true. It's just a superstition. Okay, so she doesn't believe him. She thinks he's just trying to scare her. So he's just like, what boy? Boy doesn't understand, okay? I'll give you $1 if you stand on a grave, said the boy. The boy really wants to scare her. So he told her that if she goes to the graveyard, and stands on a grave, he will give her money. Okay, he wants to see if she can do it. A grave doesn't scare me, said the girl. I'll do it right now. So the girl doesn't feel scared. So she says, okay, I'll go over there. Okay, she wants to show the boy that she's not scared. So the boy had a knife. He handed her his knife and he said, stick this knife in one of the graves. Then we will know you were there. So he said, take the knife, and when you go to the graveyard and step on the grave, stick it in the ground. So if you stick it in the ground, we will all know that you were there, that you actually did it. So the girl goes. The graveyard was filled with shadows and was quiet as death. So she goes to the graveyard, but it's a little spooky. Okay, spooky is like kind of like scary, like ooh. Okay, because it was very dark and very quiet. So she feels her heart, right? There's nothing to be scared of, the girl told herself, but she was scared anyway. So she knows she shouldn't be afraid, but still it's dark, quiet, and so she feels her heart is getting nervous and scared. She picked out a grave and stood on it. So she found a grave and she stood on it. Then, quickly, she bent over and plunged the knife into the soil. So she stepped on the grave, took the knife, and put it in the ground to show that she did it. And she started to leave. So she started to turn and go back. But she couldn't get away. Something was holding her back. So as she turned to leave, something was holding her back. She couldn't leave. She tried a second time to leave, but she couldn't move. So she turns to leave and she can't move. She was filled with terror. So she was really, really, really scared. If that was you, would you be scared? Yeah? Maybe? Okay, well, she was scared. Something has got me, she screamed, and fell to the ground. So she thinks that something grabbed her, because the boy said it would, right? So she thinks in her mind that it really is happening, and she fell to the ground. When she didn't come back, the others went to look for her. So the other people, they're at the party, and they're like, where is she? So they go to look for her. They found her body sprawled across the grave. Without realizing it, she had plunged the knife through her skirt and had pinned it to the ground. It was only the knife that held her. She had died of fright. So what happened is, when she put the knife in the ground, she had been wearing a nice dress. She had put the knife in her dress. So when she turned, she couldn't move. And she thought that it was a ghost or something. And she died because she was too scared. So it's kind of like, what? Why would she do that? But she was too scared. So on Halloween, we want to scare each other, but not to hurt each other, of course. Okay, so that's something interesting, a story that I often use in this class for Halloween. So I'll give you some Halloween vocabulary, because on Halloween we have some things, well, I can't really erase, but nope. Okay, so we have some vocabulary, some words that we use on Halloween. Okay, the first word, costume. Costume. Yeah, costume. So we wear costumes on Halloween. Has anybody worn a costume before? Anybody wear before? Maybe like a witch or a vampire, or somebody play Batman or Superman, Spider-Man. Okay, those are all costumes. Then we have mask. Mask. A mask covers your face. Okay, it covers your face so people don't know who you are. It can cover half or all of your face. That's a mask. You gave me the markers?